Hi, I'm Kate Morgan, and welcome to Abortion Queen of the South podcast. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe to help anyone who may need it. So, I'm going to say something a bit ironic right now. I actually quit social media recently. However, there is a new idiotic piece of legislation that is the TikTok ban that's being proposed that passed the House. So recently, the House of Representatives passed a bill to ban TikTok. Why? Well, frankly, they have nothing better to do and can't solve actual problems that face their citizens. They also are selective in who has quote-unquote freedom of speech. Representative Pelosi, who is well past retirement age, claimed that this bill quote-unquote won't ban TikTok but will make it better. None of these politicians can use social media. Like many people their age, I doubt they can turn on a cell phone. Uneducated politicians claim that TikTok is a quote-unquote national security risk. So if TikTok is a national security threat, what does that make alt-right havens like X and Rumble? There is misinformation on other sites that is much more dangerous than any supposed quote-unquote national security threats. Regardless of how a politician feels about a social media platform, Americans have a First Amendment right to free speech. For example, I can use my platform as an activist to talk about reproductive rights. That is unpopular in certain circles. Their choices are to either leave idiotic comments and waste their time, or not view my content. Similarly, no one is forcing anyone to use any social media platforms. Ironically, I deleted all of my social media accounts recently. Why? Because I got a new job that is a 40-hour week in about 4 10-hour shifts where I'm not really allowed to be on my phone. I can't use it. So I was just thinking, and wow, has social media, as somebody who studied marketing in college, did social media actually help my business? It was more of a distraction for me. And I honestly didn't miss it. Sure, I made plenty of friends, some of whom I still keep up with. They have my number, they know where to find me. And found other great opportunities, but you don't necessarily need social media for that. So while I do not miss them, these can be powerful tools that level the playing field in regards to organizing and activism, spreading information, and building businesses. People engage in more risky behaviors than posting on TikTok. TikTok and other social media platforms have helped social movements organize, spread information before news outlets could reach it, and helps people build their businesses. As an activist for reproductive rights, it has helped me meet other activists to grow my platform. I have been connected to resources to help others and become involved in my community outside of Atlanta, and as a clinic defender in Greenville, South Carolina. If not for social media, we couldn't have saved the Greenville Women's Clinic, the only ND clinic in South Carolina. TikTok also allows information to be rapidly shared. For example, one of my acquaintances, Carmen Broster, shared footage of herself miscarrying and nearly dying due to Idaho's draconian and barbaric abortion ban. More people are sharing their stories across the board. People are no longer subject to gatekeeping by major media outlets to share their stories. In conclusion, these politicians don't care about national security. They also don't care about what voters want. This has been evident in response to protests about Palestine, Cop City, and many other major issues. While majority of people, myself included, are opposed to sending Israel foreign aid, especially considering that their women there have many more rights than we do, and they have a lot more benefits than we do. And Cop City here in Atlanta, there is a big Stop Cop City movement going on that's had national, if not international attention, thanks to social media. But politicians don't listen to those things, and they aren't listening to any other issues, and TikTok is one of them. There was something I saw earlier about how American and Chinese TikToks are supposedly different. Because for Chinese TikToks, they are showing people more educational content and more aspirational content, but they just show Americans crap. Okay, here's my thing. I personally watch a lot of educational content. I don't really watch a ton of TV. I don't really watch a ton of crap unless it's cute animal videos. But I don't think that's crap. I think that's good. So it's my choice as a consumer. In China, I feel that they probably take things like education and being more cultured a lot more seriously than most Americans do. yes, it's a thing in America, but not like it is in other countries, whether it's Europe, China, and other parts of the world where education's more valued and you talk about things other than whatever stupid bullshit people talk about. So instead of solving any issues, these politicians are just making problems that aren't there, and they're making stupid, irrelevant points. I also hate to say it, and I'm going to give a disclaimer, I'm not a tech nerd at all, but I think TikTok is not the only company that's going to have our data if you've been on social media. I just think realistically, I think for most people it's kind of inevitable at this point. I don't know much about that. I would love some comments. I would love some feedback. That is something I need to educate myself on. I do have some friends who are really into tech who maybe I will have to ask, but the amount of data that people can find on you is absolutely horrifying. So, which is why I try to be as low-key and private as possible. But TikTok I feel like it's just a scapegoat. I know that there are people who've built social movements that have helped change the world, people who've shared their experiences in both activist spaces and in other places that have reached more mainstream audiences, musicians who have built entire careers, people who built full-on media companies across the board. And none of that would have been possible without TikTok, as well as other forms of social media. And, well, while I say it wouldn't have been possible, yeah, there are other outlets. I mean, I used to be very much, as somebody who studied marketing in college, oh, well, we have to be on social media. But you really don't. It's a good thing to have, but it's not really an end-all be-all. There are plenty of successful people without social media. I know quite a few of them. I know people with six-figure businesses without social media. Granted, they got started a lot earlier, back in the 90s or early 2000s, before social media was really a thing. I've written before about how when I was in high school and eventually prep school, that was when Facebook was invite only, and honestly, so much better. But it's just turned into this huge, huge behemoth that I don't know what to do. However, as mentioned, if we're going to go target TikTok, why are we not targeting other companies? X, or formerly known as Twitter, is a freaking cesspool now. There's tons of misinformation, and I'm sure people's data being taken and other things on other social media. So why is TikTok the only one? Here's my thing, and this is my thing in life, not just with tech. If you're going to have a law or a practice, it needs to be applied evenly. You can't pick and choose. So if we're going to say, hey, TikTok's doing these things, blah, 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 we need to start investigating other companies too. But that's not what's happening. They're just going after TikTok. And as mentioned, I feel that because of a lot of it. Yeah, Instagram has Reels, YouTube has Shorts. I'm going to see how the Shorts do. We'll see. But as far as just real-time content, you can go live at nothing on TikTok. Apparently there's a thing where people are scrubbing their toilets live. I don't know why. It's not something I think I'd watch, but because I do, I'm a terrible housekeeper, but I can scrub my own toilet. So you can see have some stuff that I'm going to be sending off to donate pretty soon, hopefully within the next few days. But, excuse the clutter, but, I'm an okay housekeeper. And yeah, I could probably do better, but as much as I like actually watching people clean, because I hate doing it, I don't want to watch somebody scrubbing their toilet for no reason on live. People are putting everything from that to protests and information. And well, yes, there is misinformation out there. You can be educated and actually research it. Misinformation has been going around for years. As somebody who deals with anti-abortion extremists and who talks about it, there are some things that sound very, very, very legit that are total misinformation sources, such as the Charlotte Lozier Institute and other ones. And those are things that I will be talking about more on my podcast as I can. I know I do have a really fun series coming up. So big hint, if you're a Swiftie, you're going to love it. If not, you should still do it. You should still listen, because maybe I'll convince you. But Also, some things about some current legislation going on in Georgia that is horrifying. Luckily, it looks like a lot of our really horrifying bills are dead, although I think a few did pass. So, that being said, I am going to put links in the show notes to help you contact your congressman and women and just help you get involved, because I think that activism is something for everyone, and whether it's sharing something on social media, which, like I said, I'm not into, but just keep sharing, calling and emailing your representatives, going to lobby days during legislative session, starting a media company like me. I think in our world, in our society, there's so much competition, but I actually, even if I absolutely can't stand the person and hate them on a personal level, which there are a few, no, I'm not going to talk about it because there's no point. Even if they have a media company, like, I think it's great. Even, like I said, if I don't like them on a personal level, because information needs to be shared, and whether you get it from me or someone else, I really don't care. People need to, especially in times like these, people need to know things like, how do you get an abortion pill? How do you find the nearest clinic? What do you do if you're in a state where it's banned? What if you can't afford it? And social media has been a great resource to share that information, as well as current legislation and news and breaking it down. And as I mentioned, while I'm not on social media and I'm focusing more on my long form content, that information needs to be out to where people can see it. And for a lot of people, from a marketing perspective, that is on TikTok, that is on Instagram. It's not going to be on places like Facebook. It's going to be on either TikTok or Instagram, because that's where the young people are. Facebook, I have like a fake, not like really a fake, but like a blank Facebook account that I use because there are a few groups that I'm in. One's a defender group that I'm going to try to go help out with in Columbus whenever I can get some time off of work. So the Greenville group, the Upstate Clinic Defenders, will be sharing me at some point. And a few other groups, like our neighborhood group, because sometimes people have cool free stuff. Sometimes I have stuff to give away or get rid of. So, I guess I do technically have a social media account, but I'm just doing YouTube, my podcast, and Medium right now. However, not everyone's there. Some people are on TikTok, some people are on Instagram, some people are on Facebook, some people you need a carrier pigeon. I don't think it matters, right? I think that whether it's a protest, whether it's social media, we just have to get the word out and let people know, because it's so easy with all the noise to just tune everything out, and different things work for different people. So again, I feel like politicians don't care about national security. If they did, they'd be doing things very differently. I am by no means a national security expert. I do follow the news, I do keep up with issues, and I do attempt to educate myself. But at the end of the day, I just feel like if we do have a national security threat, TikTok, it's not TikTok. There are so many other threats. And I feel that with, as mentioned, everything going on, especially with reproductive rights, LGBT rights, Cop City, Palestine, a lot of other big issues out there, which I made my stance on very clear when I was on social media. And I might have to go do some content on that soon. I think that is in my list. I don't know when I'll get to it, honestly, because legislative session is busy, and I also just am getting back into the swing of podcasting after finding a new job and just focusing on things that were a bit more important. So with that being said, there are resources that I used for this episode, and also some ways to contact your congressman, because I think a lot of people don't know how to do it. There are tons of resources online. If you're in Georgia, for your senators, it'll be John Ossoff and Reverend Warnock, Raphael Warnock. I actually volunteered on his campaign. Have not met him personally, but he's a good dude. Funny story, when I was at a lobby day a few weeks ago, I was talking to a lobbyist that I'm acquaintances with, and we were talking about my new job, and somehow dogs. We started talking about dogs, and then Senator Ossoff is just right by me. So, yeah. Those are our senators in Georgia. But anecdotes aside, yes, definitely call. I would recommend calling, emailing, and snail mailing, but if you can, just call and say, hey, I'm so-and-so, I'm a constituent of such and such, and I'd like to ask that they not support this bill, because from what I understand, they keep a tally, and if you've worked in a congressional office, please correct me if I'm wrong, and they'll say basically yay or nay. You don't have to say for that long. You can leave voicemails, but just say, hey, please oppose this bill. And if they're good senators or good congresspeople, they will actually listen to you and your concerns. If they're not, fuck them. They're not going to do anything. So again, be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see y'all again soon. And while I personally will not be on TikTok or Instagram or any social media platforms, hopefully you still will be able to do so. And you can find any information that you need, even if it's not on my podcast. There's a ton of info out there. So have a great one, and see you soon.